So, I mean, we're one of the richest countries in the world. We spend $3.5 trillion on healthcare, and this is what we have to show for it. The question is why? And again, there's other countries very similar to the United States, similar economic challenges, similar labor force challenges, similar stressors like that. Why was the United States so unique? That's what this was about.
And you talk about finding the cause of the cause.
Yes.
Why is that so essential?
Well, I think, it's interesting. We tend to look at symptoms of problems. I think it's just human nature. It's certainly true in medicine. Someone comes in with pain, you treat the pain.
Right.
But if you take the extra beat and try and figure out what's causing that pain, you're much more likely to treat someone long term. It takes more work. It takes more investigation. And the same thing here. We know that drug overdoses have gone up. We know suicides have gone up. We know liver cirrhosis due to alcoholism has gone up. They are the deaths of despair, as they're called. But why is that happening? And why is it so specific to the United States? That's the cause of the cause.
But so to me, it's like if you're smoking, you know it could kill you. If you're drinking, you know it could kill you. If you're eating badly, you know it could kill you. What about stress? Because stress we put on ourselves,
Yes.
and we feel like we can't get away from it, and that's killing us.
I think that is one of the underlying causes here. And stress itself, we all need it. I mean, you in order to do all the things that you do, you need a certain amount of stress. The problem seems to be, and this is in part unique to the United States, is the relentless nature of stress.
Right.
That we can't ever seem to really get a break from it.
Is it cultural?
I think it is cultural. I think, in the United States, it was about rugged individualism, go it alone. That became the mantra for success. If you could do that, that was a mark of somehow, something that you've done that's spectacular. That's not how it's often seen in other countries. It is much more collaborative. Even in, this isn't about capitalism versus socialism. Even in capitalist countries that have very similar cultures to the United States, otherwise, there's not often the go it alone sort of mantra. And I think that's led to stress. I think it's led to social isolation. I think loneliness, which is sort of this squishy topic that people talk about but don't know how to measure, is now being increasingly measured. And I think it's at the heart of a lot of these problems.
Sanjay Gupta is here. It's so interesting because I remember in the first part of my career, I mean, look, I've always wanted to do as much as I possibly can and max out, right?
Yeah.
But I remember in the first part of my career, I was embarrassed to tell people I sleep more than 5 hours. I was embarrassed to tell people I don't work on the weekends. I was embarrassed to say I take a week off. I mean, all of these things were in my head. Why?
I think I remember having some of these conversations with you several years ago, and we would share those stories and we wear them like badges of honor.
Yeah.
And I would say to you, you're the hardest working guy I've met literally in any field. And that was a compliment, right? I mean, and it still is a compliment, but I'm saying that my guess is that you still find time to not always be stressed.
Yes, and now I understand the value of rest and sleep, whereas I think in my 20s and even my 30s, I didn't think that mattered.
Yeah. And the other thing is, Ryan, I don't think being busy is necessarily always equated with being stressed.
Right.
I mean, I think people can be busy but not necessarily be stressed. We can all find time to just decompress for a period of time. We now know more than ever what that does, how the brain actually changes in response to that. If you don't get a break from it, your stress at this time of day will affect your decisions about what you're having for dinner tonight.
Right.
We don't think like that.
Right.
But your brain changes so rapidly in response to that stress and not getting a break from it that it affects your judgment. It affects your empathy towards others tomorrow. It's all this cycle that we can now see very clearly unfolding in the brain.
You work all the time too, and you're in tough situations. You look very unstressed. What are you using on? It looks very good. I mean, you're resting, you're moisturizing, you're doing all the right things.
No, I'm excited to see you.
That's what it is. He's beaming. He's beaming to be in the studio with us. All right, that is One Nation Under Stress. That's on HBO. There's a really cool series on CNN that we're going to come up and talk about next. Sanjay Gupta is here. We'll be right back. 102.7 KISS FM. So, Sanjay, you're all over CNN, but one of the things that I saw recently being promoted is this new series, which looks like a great assignment, but I think an important one. It's called Chasing Life, right?
Yep.
And you're out to find happiness, and what are you looking to find?
Yeah, the basic premise was, look, if the United States is this country where we're spending all this money on healthcare, we're declining in life expectancy. Clearly, there's places around the world that are doing a better job. Places that are happier, healthier, where people live longer lives.
Like you read about them drinking more, resting more, not working as much, and they're living longer.
That's the thing. What's the healthiest country in the world? Italy. as it turns out. Italy.
Yeah. Oh. What's my favorite kind of food? Italian.
Italian food.
Makes sense.
Is it because they drink wine all the time?
I think, well, look, they drink, they smoke, they eat all kinds of foods. They're not known for going to the gym.
Right.
And yet they're the healthiest country in the world. Why is that, right? We're so used to measurables. I will lower my cholesterol. I will not eat meat. I will exercise for an hour a day, whatever it is.
Right.
We love measurable binary things. And yet a country that's the healthiest country doesn't focus on any of those things. So what is it? We think in part, having spent a lot of time there, that in part it's the socialization. It's the communal living. Even in the United States, there was this town in Roseto, Pennsylvania, where Italian immigrants all lived. High cholesterol, ate fatty foods, all kinds of stuff. And they had the lowest incidence of heart disease in the United States.
Because they were happy?
They were happy. They socialized. They checked in on each other. I mean, again, this sounds squishy, especially for people who like to have the scan, the blood test. But there's no question that humans are social creatures and that it has a tangible benefit on brain and body.
The communal living. That's very interesting.
Communal living, yes.
So Italians are the happiest and healthiest people on earth?
Healthiest.
Healthiest. Who are the happiest?
Norwegians.
Norwegians.
Really?
Norwegians, as it turns out.
Why are they so happy?
Good question, right? So I went to this town. It was 270 miles north of the Arctic Circle. The place is plunged into darkness for months out of the year, and then they're the happiest people in the world. And there's a lot to it, but the thing that I sort of really took away from it, and I think you'll appreciate this, is that they have to overcome these challenges on a regular basis living in their environment. It's cold, it's austere, it's a tough environment to live in. So they have these challenges every day that they overcome, and in some ways I think it's not despite their environment that they're so happy, it's because of their environment. If you have a challenge that you give yourself and you overcome that challenge, those are your moments of supreme joy. Like if you go live on a beach every day, that's great, and you will have a certain baseline level of happiness. But if you say happiness to me is having like pinnacles of happiness, like how happy could I possibly be? I'm not going to stay that way forever, but how happy can I be? And a lot of it is overcoming challenges in life. That's when we have that supreme happiness. Norwegians seem to have that on a regular basis. So that's in part.
How much of an issue is our device that we carry around all the time?
Huge issue.
Do you think there'll be a backlash to the constant access that we have through these?
I think there, not only, I think will there be, I think it's already happening to some extent. And if you talk to people that, like I'm sure you've talked to, who are within that world of device manufacturing and content making within the device, they will tell you that they oftentimes will not engage themselves or not let their family members engage, that these devices were designed in many ways to be addictive, like substances can be addictive. I worry about it especially for young people, which is no surprise, but I think that what we're seeing now is an inability for young people to get away from that stress that we're talking about. They don't get a break from it. The device is not a metaphor for, socialization or for, stress-free time. It seems to add to it. So I think, we are starting to see a backlash. And I think it's interesting, Ryan. I have 3 kids. What I know is that 12th graders now go out less than 8th graders used to go out. They're less likely to go to prom. They're less likely to drink.
Because they're
more likely to be physically safe, but mentally. I'm really worried about it because of the constant, incessant nature of the device.
So, but you're on a news network around the world. You're a doctor. You're in Atlanta. You're in New York. You're traveling over the place. How do you put yours down? I mean, I would think you have to be always available.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this is the life that I have, and I work at a trauma hospital. So there's call for that as well. But I think I try not to engage with it other than times that it's necessary. I think we have.
What time did you email me back last night? Or was that this
11,
morning?
11:30,
Yeah, I emailed him and he emailed me back at 11 p.m. last night. So I'm just saying.
It's Ryan Seacrest. Everyone emails you back right away.
Yeah, it really doesn't. You email us at 2 in the morning, right?
Yeah, it's true. Well, listen, I'm so happy to see you, and all your success is wonderful. You do so much good for us,
Thank you.
I appreciate all of the coverage, all of the storytelling that you're doing. CNN series, Chasing Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, that premieres on CNN Saturday, 9/8 Central. Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Thank you. Such a fan of yours, Ryan. Thank you.
And me, you. We'll be right back with Miss Tati on KISS FM.